Hey, this is Jay with Brick Tech Support for LSP Facilitators. And today we're going to look at some of the more technical pieces and also this concept of pins and sockets. So what do we mean by that? I'm going to move this out of the way so we can get some close-ups on sockets and pins. So the first thing is to inspect the holes, and we see this ridge that's in there, right? It's kind of recessed down on both sides, and this is a socket, right? We can think of it as a socket that's going to hold a pin. So the pin looks like this, and it's got a split end on it, and some of them are double-ended like this piece is. And what that does is it allows the piece to compress a little bit and then pop open, and there's an edge, a little bit of a lip here that will engage that recessed part and keep from popping out. So what that does, we'll snap this in here. Okay, clicks in there, and now we get a real frictionless movement. It's quite nice, actually. It's really satisfying. I could do that all day. So that's what this idea of the socket and pin is, and just identifying the hole with that ridge is going to be half the battle. Now these holes might look like they will line up and engage with some of the other system bricks, and they're really not made to do that. You could probably jam it in there, but I wouldn't recommend it. The bottom and the top are like standard bricks connections. We can combine them that way. But these holes, anything that has that recessed edge to it, is really made for pins. So besides the Technic pieces, are there any other ones that use this concept of a socket and pin? And the answer is yes, of course. And we see them in pieces like this. And if we look closely, we can see that edge that's in there, that recessed lip, and we can put a pin in there, and we can combine it with other pieces, and you can see, what kind of connections we can make with something like this. And we'll go into plate-to-plate and model connections in a different video, but I just really wanted to focus on this idea of socket and pin. Some other pieces that use this connection type are these little struts that I'm just throwing all over the place, apparently. They've got it at both ends here. We can use these to make some pretty interesting connections. Besides these pins, there are other pieces that have that built in, and the most common are axle blocks. Most of the wheels, they have hubs that use that kind of socket connection, and we can certainly take advantage of these bricks for things like this. And they come in different positions too, out to the side, up and down. We've got centered ones as well. So depending on what connection type you're trying to achieve, you can find a brick that's going to put the pin in the right direction for you. And if pieces are running short, we can also use a gear. The gear has that 2x2 pattern on it, so we can snap that on a plate or another brick. And there is an axle and pin piece. It's got that plus axle on one end and that pin on the other. So what you can do is slide that axle end into the gear, attach that to something, and then attach your Technic or that socket piece to this one. So pretty handy, different ways that we can make connections using this socket and pin. Some other interesting pieces that are in, I think it's the connection kit, has these in it. These have both, I don't know if we're going to be able to see that or not. It's got a spot for an axle and also for a pin connection. So we could do something like this where we've got some movement there, but then also we can connect a more rigid piece on this other one. So, hey, we're halfway to a clock right now, right? All right. So, yeah, all different kinds of pieces, but the trick really is to look for that recessed lip to identify this as a socket, and you will need some sort of pin to snap in there to make that connection stable. So I hope this was helpful. Any questions or comments, please put them below. And until next time, play well.